You are watching the Michigan Football Report. We are live here on Tuesday. It's election night. No, not for the politicians and those people trying to run everything you do in Washington or at your local courthouse, local city hall, etc. It is college football playoff election night. We are going to find out who the new number one is. Hell, the new number two, I think I am very intrigued, and as you should be as well, with who are going to be the top three in the college football playoff rankings. There's some chatter that, hey, maybe Tennessee doesn't fall that far. They number one, lost to number three. Maybe they'll only drop to two, drop to three, ahead of undefeated Ohio State, ahead of maybe undefeated Michigan, TCU. So much intrigue, so many things to talk about here on the Michigan Football Report. We are live. It is 6:47 p.m. on the East Coast. Let me hear your Go Blues in the live chat. We are going to spend the next 10 to 15 minutes just getting to know each other a little bit better. Won't really start talking deep into the college football playoff stuff until the top of the hour, 7 o'clock Eastern time, as the committee. We've got a committee member on a microphone right outside this studio. We'll be in Studio E. Studio E here at Chat, Studio F, that's what it is, waiting to reveal the rankings the moment they have them, and really the same time as you would get on TV. So seeing a ton of Go Blues, going to start giving some shout-outs. I am blind, so if you guys see me squint, I don't do a ton of live shows, and maybe it's because of my eyesight, actually. So let's take a look. I've got Ryan Barron saying Go Blue, Trey Morgan, Go Blue round two, Blad O'Mac, Mark Shank, Tim Backer, Shakir Sims Jr., Alex Latore, Jacob Blaukamp, Eric Sloan, Ryan Barron, and Carl Cordlo, my guy. Carl, you should be getting your Michigan football t-shirt here in a matter of days. So thanks always for supporting the show. Give me some Go Blues. Who did we have last week, Jack? We had some Ohio State fans infiltrate the chat, didn't we, there at the end? Remember I was making fun of those guys. They were putting stuff, and I was kind of, saying different things than they were typing. So let's not let today become a Ohio State fest. Their fans really want to, stick it to Michigan fans for some reason. So make sure you're typing your Go Blues down in the comment. All right, some questions to start the show. Just see what you guys think. Who is the best Michigan football wide receiver of all time? General consensus is that it's Anthony Carter, 79, 80, 81, maybe 82 as well, three-time All-American. Really before the advent of the passing game in college football, right? Michigan was running option offense, a running offense. Hell, in 1979 when they beat Indiana in the last play, like a 45-yard pass to Anthony Carter, they actually went play-action pass. Well, why did they go play-action pass when they're down 4 points with 2 seconds left at the 45? They didn't have any plays in the playbook that didn't include play-action pass, right, Jack? This is 43 years ago. Can you imagine that? So that is, there. So Anthony Carter, Michigan Heisman Trophy winner Desmond Howard, and then Braylon Edwards, who started at Michigan really 01 through 04, but really the 2002, then 2003, and then 2004 season when he won the Biletnikoff. Let me know what you guys think. Got a Braylon Edwards from Scoobyism. Kenneth Weber says Anthony Carter. 21, Desmond Howard from Stephen Powers. Mark Shank says he's a big Braylon Edwards fan. Chase Goded says Ohio State effing sucks. I agree with that guy. Says a couple times. AC from Rick. Bruce says AC. Braylon from Jack. Dave says Braylon. Amani Toomer from Scoobyisms. Don't think he necessarily had the great teams or the accolades and big-time stats, but he made some great plays. Him and Mercury Hayes made a hell of a combo back in the mid-'90s, 94, 95. Ohio State is something just crude, but I see you there, who was that? Vlad. That was that guy, Vlad. And then Jimmy John says Desmond Howard. So interesting take from you guys on what you guys think and who you guys think is the greatest Michigan football wide receiver of all time. I'm going to say Desmond Howard. I'm going to say Braylon Edwards because I think he was dominant for a longer period of time, 3 years as a starter, 3 years as an All-Big Ten player, and at one point, and maybe still, he was the all-time leading receiver in touchdown catches in Michigan football history. Next question up, have you ever been to Europe? Let's see, take a look poll here. Have you ever been to Europe, ever visited? Hey, James, this is Luther from Texas. Go Blue. Luther, sup? What's going on? We're in Texas, too, downtown Dallas. Have you ever visited Europe? Y for yes, N for no. Cena Chase, Scotty, TU Keyshawn, no. Hell no from Alex Latore. Got a yes from the Blue guy. No from Rick. Justin Courtney, my guy, says no. Melvin says yes. I've been to Europe 4 or 5 times in my life. Last time in 2018, we visited London and Amsterdam in November. I had a 2-year-old son at the time, and my mother-in-law came down, took care of him. My wife and I did A couple days here, a couple days there. So let me know down in the comments why, for yes, or and for no. The reason I ask is today's video is sponsored by Established Titles, folks. You remember Established Titles from last week. They are a big sponsor for the Michigan Football Report throughout the month of November and the month of December going into next year, hopefully. Today's show is sponsored by Established Titles. They are a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's a project based on historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. Your boy here, I'm a Scottish lord. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland. I've never been to Scotland, but that's where it is, Edelston, Scotland. And you get an official certificate with a crest. They plant a tree with every order and work with global charities, one tree planted and trees for the future to support global reforestation efforts. You can officially include the title Lord or Lady on your credit card, your plane tickets, your dating profile. It makes a great, great last-minute gift. The first 200 people, though, purchasing a title pack using my link you see at the bottom of the screen, establishedtitles.com/chat, will effectively have a plot in Edelston, Scotland next to mine within a few minutes of walking distance. Folks, let's do it together. Depending on how many of you guys want to become a lord or lady, we can build our own Michigan Football Report kingdom in Scotland. It makes an amazing last-minute gift. Established Titles is running a massive early Black Friday sale. 80% off, plus you can get another 10% using promo code chat. This is kind of like, I don't want to say a gag gift, but it is similar to buying moon rocks or naming a star after someone or buying a mile on the highway. Established.com/chat, promo code chat. Awesome gift. Make the person that you love in your life trying to buy a last minute gift for you, make him a Scottish lord or lady. Take a look at this bad boy. Your boy James, I'm holding up the camera there. I am an official Scottish lord. I'm hanging this on the desk on the wall in my office. I'm going to put it on my passport. B12, very affordable, running a sale right now, 10% off, extra 10% off. Great, perfect holiday gift. Imagine handing this to your mom. Mom, you are a official Scottish landowner. You are a lady of Scotland. Established.com/chat. Promo code is chat. All right, as we're getting closer to the college football playoff rankings reveal, use hashtag Michigan. You can chat all you want, do whatever you want in the chat, but if you use hashtag Michigan, bump you to the top of the queue for producer Jack to look at when we do our live Q&A throughout the next 75 to 90 minutes. We'll stay on as long as you guys are still asking good questions and want me to stay live. So use hashtag Michigan, or you can super chat, all right? What's a super chat? There's a little button at the bottom of the chat or right side of the chat, and you press that. You can donate as little as $1 to get yourself up to the top of the queue. And a bunch of the shows at Chat Sports do this as we're waiting for the rankings. Super chat menus. I don't know if you guys are interested in it. They have a lot of fun with it on some of our other shows, our NFL shows that do 2 or 3 live shows per week. So here's what we're going to do. Walk you through this one. We'll keep popping back this throughout the show. 100 likes on the video, which as of right now, what do we have, Jack? 30 likes in the video? 30 likes. Once we get to 100, we will do a corn clock. I'll show you what that is in a second. I'm going to fill my mouth with candy corn. Super chat for any amount gets you a Q&A spot, kind of bumps you to the top of the queue. If you do a $5 super chat, where's the wheel here, Jack? Jack has created this wheel of fortune, and this one here and this one over here actually you can't see because they're green. We've got a green background here, funny enough. But let me walk you through what this wheel is. $5 super chat. If I'm going to spin this wheel, Bosa chant. I'll create my own song for Beat Ohio State again. I'll tell you, go blue. I'll take a drink of a beer. I'll do 5 push-ups, 5 squats, a Bosa chant. Take a drink, and then it's the same ones, 5 push-ups or 5 squats. So if you donate $5, I'll spin this bad boy. I'll either be singing, taking a drink, doing 5 push-ups, or doing 5 squats. As many as you guys want, I will do. So that is the wheel spin. Every $25, we've got an Ohio State fan here in the office. He's going to come in. If someone super chats for $25, I'm going to smack the shit out of him for $25 super chat right here on the YouTube live stream. And $100, we are going to do the Bosa bong. So let me bring it up there. We got a beer bong in the office, and I put a little sticker there saying, beat Ohio State again, Bosa right there. I'll fill this bad boy up with a beer, and I will chug one. So that is the super chat menu. If you guys want a little more entertainment outside of just Michigan football stuff, you want to see me do some crazy things like slap a man across the face or beer bong, just go ahead and donate a little cash money records, and we will get after it. We are about 4 or 5 minutes from getting the show started, so keep the live chat rolling. 66 likes right now is the number we're at, Jack. We got to get to 100, and we can do the corn clock. Super chat from Don says, let's go Tudor Dixon. I told you I wasn't going to get political, but I might here. I talked to my cousin today, and I'll admit this. Prior to 2020, I typically voted Democrat, straight down the line. But I was a little jaded by the COVID lockdowns here or there. And my cousin lives in Michigan, and she said, I'm worried that Tudor Dixon, she doesn't want Gretsch because Big Gretsch shut things down. She says, I fear that people forgot all the things that happened here, whether it's Republican or not. She's like, for her, she's a kid, she's a daughter. Didn't matter if Gretchen was Republican, Democrat. She just wants to vote for the other person. So, Don, I'm with you there. Only because I will lose faith in the state of Michigan that they have kids out of school for 15 months and not make a change. But I would vote against Gretchen no matter what party she was at and no matter what party her opponent was. So thanks so much for Don. I'll give you a little beer cheers, too. Got a little Bud Lights. I don't know what they're doing here, Bud Light, but I guess I will drink it. We're at 76 likes as far as I can tell here. Let's get to 100 likes. When we do 100 likes, why don't we toss up the candy corn game, Jack, to show everybody, as we got 3 minutes till the top of the hour for the college football playoff rankings. All right. So, I guess that's when we've got to how do we run this one again? Is it just whenever we want to do it? Okay, cool. So later on in the show, this isn't the one from the chat, but we'll do this later. How about after the rankings are revealed, we'll do this one. For every dollar that comes in during the 60 seconds that we do this after the rankings are revealed, I will put one piece of candy corn in my mouth. I mean, if you guys do $100, $150, that could become an absolute mess. So we'll do that. Why are we doing candy corn? There you go. Cornhuskers. We are doing some candy corn. So we're at 100 likes there. So what was the 100 likes, Jack, on the Super Chat menu? All right, cool. So we've hit 100 likes. We'll do the shot cock here shortly for you guys. All right. We're coming up 2 minutes to 7 p.m. Predict the score, Michigan, Nebraska. I've got this one 42-10 is my score, although with Nebraska quarterback Casey Thompson maybe being out again. We're not sure about that yet, but he missed last week's game versus Minnesota, and it's a nerve injury. We're not really sure exactly what that means, but you never know. They could be starting what's the kid's name? Kurt Purdy, Brock Purdy's brother, transfer from Florida State to Nebraska. He was awful last week. So predict the score. I've got 42-10. Let's see if anybody's predicting the score here. Ooh, got a couple $5 super chats I just saw pop in there, Jack, and a $1.99 and a $5. Okay, cool. Hey, Ronan, I didn't tell you about my politics. He said, keep your shitty politics by football. I didn't tell you who to vote for. I just said that people in Michigan are talking. I don't think what okay, Anne-Marie Frass, I'm just going to block you from the channel because you're putting in rude comments. You're blocked for good. And Ronan, I'm going to block you as well because I didn't give a political opinions. I just told you what people are thinking. You are blocked. Thank you. Predict the score, 42-10 is mine. I've got 35-14 from Garrett. I've got Bosa from Godel Green Arrow says 42-17, and Rob Scottney 34-17. 49-14 from Kenneth Weber, and Anazari 82 says 49-3. I like this one. Chase Goaded 11 says destroy those Cornhuskers. 52-10 from Cody and 55-10 from Rick Hartford. All right, keep the score predictions going in. First super chat that popped through from Trey Morgan. He says, get this man a Busch Light. Do we have any Busch Lights? I don't think we have any Busch Lights. Trey, I'll do this for you. Assuming Michigan wins, Jack reminded me of this. Assuming Michigan wins on Saturday versus Nebraska, I will chug a Busch Light in the Saturday Instant Reaction post-game show, which goes up about 20 or 30 minutes after the end of the game, just for your super chat. Appreciate it, Trey. I can only office manager Bud Light. I'm not going to argue with it, but that's what it is. So thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Don coming in with a couple of $2 super chat says, let's get them Huskers. Thanks so much for Don. Cheers to you. People might get me drunk here, Jack, because we are just arriving at 7 o'clock. Then Carl Cordell, $5 coming in. Go Blue. What's that, super chat menu? All right. We got a wheel spin coming in for Carl. All right. Let's take a look, Carl. This wheel spin is for you. After this one, we're going to jump into the rankings as they're going to be coming out in a matter of moments. Woo! Oop. Slow it down a little bit. And where we at? Where'd it stop at? Is it this one right here? Is this the top? Okay. 5 squats. 5 squats for you, Carl. All right. Camera doesn't really go back there, but you guys can see me as I got to watch out for these cords, watch out for the lights behind me. Okay, ready? Let's go. 1. How's my form, Jack? 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do 6 just to, keep it flowing. One more. 7. All right, cool. Thanks so much for the $5, Carl. Appreciate it. And a $9.99 coming in from Blue Wolverine. Thank you so much for the super chat, Blue Wolverine. What's $10 on the menu, Jack? Not anything. All right, cool. We will do Blue Wolverine if you want to put in what we're doing for you, ask a question or anything like that. Really appreciate the $10. We will do an extra candy corn for him. We'll do 90 seconds of the candy corn for that one. All right, cool. All right, rankings are coming out here in a few moments as we are waiting word from the college football playoff representative in the hallway. Beat Ohio State again. Look, folks, this game is now 18 days away, right? 18 days away, and I am just super, super excited. Make it burn from Win Wang. Thank you so much. It did burn a little bit. I don't do squats a lot. I am super excited for this Michigan-Ohio State game. I do think that we're seeing some of the weaknesses from Ohio State that we saw, again, last year. Any cold weather, any wind, they struggle. Their offensive line looks like they're getting beat up. Sometimes their defensive line, all playing into the hands of if Michigan can bring the same intensity, the same offensive line push, and get any sort of pass rush on Coleridge Stroud. I'm really feeling confident about that game 18 days away from today. All right, before we dive into the top 25 when they reveal to us, let's take a look at the top 10 from last week. As you guys all probably know, Tennessee, number 1 last week, they lost to Georgia. Georgia is expected to be the number 1 team. I think pretty, obviously in this week's rankings because they beat number 1. We'll jump over number 2, Ohio State. Clemson lost, so I think in a lot of ways Clemson has removed themselves from consideration, right? 21-point loss to a 3-loss Notre Dame team. Michigan crushed Rutgers 38-0 in the second half after being down 17-13. Alabama. Again, this is the first time since 2010 Alabama's had 2 losses before Thanksgiving Day. TCU got a little bit of a come-from-behind win. They were struggling early with Texas Tech. Oregon gets the win. USC and LSU beats Alabama in overtime. Gutsy call by Brian Kelly to go 4-2. I think the biggest intriguing storyline of tonight is where Michigan and Ohio State are. Could Michigan jump them from 5 all the way up to 2 and Ohio State drop from 2 to 3? Back-to-back weeks for the Buckeyes, kind of struggling, right? They were down with 9 minutes to go against Penn State, and they were tied at halftime with Northwestern and, needed a couple long runs. They really couldn't do anything through the passing game with 50-mile-per-hour winds there in Evanston against the Northwestern Wildcats. Take a look at the stat comparison. Total offense, Michigan, number 21 offense in the country in yards, 465 a game, but only 19 yards behind Ohio State, who is number 14. Total defense, Michigan, number 2 in the country behind Illinois at 242 a game. Ohio State number 6. Big improvement for Ohio State. Scoring offense, Michigan number 5. Ohio State now number 1 after Tennessee didn't score much against Georgia. Scoring defense, how about that? Michigan number 5 scoring offense, number 3 scoring defense. Ohio State, big improvement again for them. They are giving up 15.7 points a game. It's 15.8 rounded up. Number 8, both teams are 9-0. All right. Rankings is going to be here in a second. Subscribe to the channel if this is your first time. There's 450 of you guys watching live. The Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. We put out daily Michigan football videos throughout the entire season. We are the only ones to give you inside access to news, rumors, tell you about what players are being injured, talk about the game plan. We've been really strong on getting your words on what Michigan's going to do with Blake Corum, what they're going to do with J.J. McCarthy, what the first half game plan is. Donovan Edwards, we told you his 2 big games. I harped on Donovan Edwards. He's being featured. A few weeks back, and then again this past week against Rutgers. It was the Penn State game, I believe, right? And then against Rutgers again. So Donovan Edwards has been getting really good intel on him. So subscribe to the channel. We were just at 22,400 last Tuesday, now at 22,800 and up. So subscribe if you have not. We are trying to get to 23,000 subscribers by game time on Saturday. As we rate the college football playoff rankings, my take is there is no objective reason that Ohio State should be ranked ahead of Michigan, right? What would be the objective reason? That they scored 77 points or whatever it was against Toledo that really kind of jacked up their points per game rankings? This team has not been as dominant as Michigan in any facet of the game. They struggled against Notre Dame early on. That was a close game. They ended up winning 21-10. A Notre Dame team, folks, that lost to Stanford, who might be the worst team in Power 5. That lost to Marshall, right? It was a Group of 5 team. I know they beat Clemson. I know they beat North Carolina, but nevertheless, they lost to those two teams as well. Ohio State struggled with them. They struggled with Northwestern. They struggled with Penn State, right? It turned out to be like a 3-score win, but Ohio State scored 24 points, in the last 8 minutes of the game. I don't think there's any objective reason why or how that Ohio State should be ranked ahead of Michigan. Michigan has been more dominant. Michigan has, really only been behind at halftime one time against Rutgers. Turns out 38-0 in the second half. Jack, while we're waiting for the new reveal, the top 25 exclusively to us, why don't we take a look at that tweet I put out about Michigan and Ohio State, the scores. If you have that one, if you guys haven't followed me on Twitter, want to show you this one I tweeted out yesterday afternoon. College football stats of note. Right, they slanted towards Michigan. That's for you to interpret. Game scoring 50-plus points. Georgia 1, Ohio State 3, Michigan 4, right? Maybe people surprised. Michigan 4, Ohio State 3 as scoring over 50 or more. Ohio State scored 70-plus in one game. But nevertheless, how about game scoring under 25? Georgia hasn't done it at all. Ohio State has done it twice. And Michigan has done it once or 0 times. And, Jack, it sounds like coming from the guys out in the hallway, sounds like we've got our top 25 coming in, huh? Coming in. All right, let's get it started. We're going to cut this segment here. We're going to kind of do a fresh restart. I'll put it up on the channel later, so if you haven't seen the entire video or can't stick around for the next 10 or 15 minutes, this section here with the top 25 rankings will be on the channel in about 45 or so minutes from now. You are watching the Michigan Football Report. I am your host, James Yoder. College Football Playoff Top 25, second edition. Ranking reveals here on election night, November 8th, 2022. We've got your top 25 coming in 25 through 21, ready to go for you here on the Michigan Football Report, live for the second time in 2 straight Tuesdays. Washington, number 25, followed by Kentucky, Florida State. How about Florida State? Having a little turnaround year. Didn't expect much from them this year. UCF is number 22. And the Fighting Illini of Illinois, who were ranked, 15 last week. They lost to Michigan State, which I actually think is a bummer for Michigan because Michigan plays them in 2 weeks from now. Would be a nice top 15 win potentially, but nevertheless, Illinois drops to 21 after losing to Sparty. Notre Dame is back inside the top 20 after they beat Clemson. They are your number 20 team. Kansas State coming off a loss to Texas. Texas jumps them. They are number 18. And then Tulane. It's funny enough. This Kansas State, Texas, Tulane. Tulane beat Kansas State. Texas beat Kansas State. Those are only 2 losses, I believe. So Kansas State has to be beneath both those 2 teams, I guess, the way the committee approached it. North Carolina State, the 7-2 North Carolina State Wolfpack, they come in at number 16 in this college football playoff top 25 rankings reveal. And we're going to have your top 11 through 15 here in just a moment. They're coming through fast. We'll get them up on screen here for you in a second. I'll read them off to you as they are coming in. You can toss the question up while we're waiting for them to get on screen, Jack. Will Michigan make the college football playoff? Let me know what you guys are thinking as the rankings come across the screen. Comment yes or no if Michigan will make the college football playoff. Number 11 through 15, coming in hot. It's North Carolina at 15, Penn State at 14. I think that's a good thing. I kind of root for Penn State to win out from here because it does look good for Michigan. Should the Wolverines have a loss and are kind of fighting for that number 3, number 4 spot down towards the end of the season, Utah at 13, UCLA at 12, Ole Miss at 11. Ole Miss 11 is an interesting one because they're a one-loss SEC team, and they're not getting as much love. They will have the opportunity to prove themselves this weekend. They are taking on Alabama. Could knock Alabama way out of the top 10 if Ole Miss wins that one. We're going to get inside now the top 10. We will reveal number 10 through number 7. The committee will then take a pause. They'll make us sit out for a commercial break, whatever they want to do, and then we will jump into the top 6. Clemson, after losing to Ohio State, they drop from – Ohio State. Clemson, after losing to Notre Dame, they drop from 4 down to 10 with 1 loss. I think as Michigan fans, you want to consider – what would happen if Michigan goes on the road and loses a close-ish game against Ohio State? I don't think it's going to happen, but what if? You still want to make the playoff, don't you? You're going to be going against maybe Tennessee with 1 loss, Clemson, who could be a conference champion with 1 loss, maybe TCU if they lose a game with 1 loss. So I think the lower those teams are ranked today, or if they lose, let's say TCU loses to Texas, the better for Michigan. Clemson at 8-1. They are your number 10 team in this second college football playoff. rankings reveal. As we're waiting for number 9, it seems that the committee is going to take their time now revealing this to us. I will ask you guys, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, the Michigan Football Report. We got the numbers from October and September, the first 60 days of the college football season. We were consumed, this channel, this show, was watched, consumed, whatever you want to call it, more than any other program on television, on radio, on podcasts across the entire Michigan football media landscape. This is your number 1 most watched show, so really appreciate it. Subscribe, youtube.com/Michigan TV. Number 9 coming in, Alabama. They dropped from 6 last week, dropped down to number 9. They have 2 losses. They're going to face number 11 Ole Miss. I'm surprised they are still number 9, right? I think that feels a little strong to me. We'll talk more about it in a second. We'll go 8 through 1, but I want to make sure you guys know about today's sponsor. It is Established Titles. I am now a Scottish Lord, folks, and you can be too. Today's show is presented by Established Titles, a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's a project based on historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, or lords and ladies in English. The title pack gives you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. We plant a tree with every order and work with global charities One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. You could officially include Lord or Lady as your title on your credit card, plane tickets, dating profiles, etc. This makes a great last-minute gift, and the first 200 people who buy using establishedtitles.com/chat, promo code chat, you will get a plot within walking distance of mine. We can build an entire Michigan Football Report kingdom over there in Edelston, Scotland. It's an amazing last-minute gift for you guys as I'm getting my certificate handed back to me. I am a Scottish Lord because I am a landowner. I'm part of the aristocracy of Edelston, Scotland. They're running a Black Friday sale right now. Discounts up to 80% plus an additional 10%. Give this to your mom. Give this to your friend. Give this to your girlfriend, your boss. Say, hey, I bought this for you. You own land in Edelston, Scotland. You are a landowner with Established Titles, and you're now a Scottish Lord or Lady. Establishedtitles.com/chat. Additional 10% off of their amazing early Black Friday sale, where they're having some sales as much as 80% off. Add another 10% off. Establishedtitles.com/chat. All right, we got one more ranking while we were doing that ad read, and we appreciate you guys sitting through the ad read. Just understand, we put the show out for free. We don't half-ass anything here. We've got producers, we've got full studios, everything like that. Ad reads, they pay the bills, so we appreciate you guys supporting our sponsors. Go to establishedtitles.com/chat. USC is number 8. This is a sneaky one. I think that USC at number 8 is something that Michigan needs to keep an eye out for because they've already got 1 loss. They've been looking good on offense most of the year. If they win the Pac-12, I think them and Oregon, who I'm expecting to be number 7 or number 6, that is a potential to keep a 1-loss Michigan or Ohio State, the loser of the big game, the game on November 26th. Whoever loses that game is going to still want to try and get to the college football playoff. Your number 7, your number 6, your number 8 teams here from the Pac-12 potentially could get in the way of that. As we're waiting for the top 7, let me know who should be number 2. Michigan. Ohio State. Let me know what you guys think. Type M or O in the comments. Really want to see what you guys are thinking. I'm going to dive back here into the live chat and let you guys know, let's see what you guys are thinking. Seeing a lot of M's from the Michigan Football Report audience. Ooh, I see Griff Randall says O twice, so maybe he's an Ohio State guy. Griff Randall with another O. M from Steve. Dalton with an M. Tyson says, I think TCU should be 2. Interesting. I don't necessarily disagree with you. Keep them rolling. The M's, the O's. We are going to dive into the top 7 here in a second. Number 1, we are going to get the number 1 team in the college football playoff. Who do you think it's going to be, Jack? Who do you think it's going to be? Beep, 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 beep. Georgia Bulldogs are going to be your number 1 team. So who should be number 2, Michigan or Ohio State? Very sad. This is kind of BS. Ohio State's number 2. Michigan's going to be ranked number 3. We'll see who comes in at number 4 here in a moment. So your top 3, they always switch it up on us, right? They go 25 down to 1. Now they go 25 to 8. Then they skip down to 1, and they're going to go 1 up to 7. Georgia's number 1. Folks, Ohio State is ranked number 2, and Michigan is ranked number 3. I don't like it. TCU coming in here. The Horned Frogs, who face Texas on Saturday night. I think it's a 7:30 Eastern kick, where I think the Longhorns are actually favored over the number 4 TCU Horned Frogs. So there are your number 4. The committee doesn't actually really take many chances here. Those are your 4 undefeated teams left in college football in the Power 5. Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, TCU 4. As we wait numbers 5, 6, and 7, I just want to kind of circle back to my thoughts here about why should Ohio State be ranked ahead of Michigan. I don't really know. I think that Michigan's been more impressive throughout this year. As number 5 comes across, it is the Tennessee Volunteers. They were number 1 last week. In some ways, this is a good thing, right? That they didn't get the SEC bump where we've seen in the past. Number 1 Alabama or number 2 Alabama faces number 1 LSU, and the loser just drops to 3. We've seen this happen plenty of times. I don't have them all at the top of my head right now of what's happened in the college football playoff in the past. But this is a good sign, I think, for Michigan and Ohio State fans for the loser of that game. If it's closer than Tennessee-Georgia, if that game is closer than Tennessee-Georgia, that was a multiple score loss for Tennessee. There's a chance that the Michigan-Ohio State loser could stay in the college football playoff above a 1-loss Tennessee. As we wait for number 5, we got number 5 Tennessee. As we wait for number 6, who we got out there, Jack? We've got Oregon, right? Still out there, and we saw Clemson. They were number 10. Who am I missing here? Oregon and UCLA. Who am I missing here? I actually don't know. Why am I drawing a blank who we haven't seen yet from the college football playoff top 25? I want to go look at our LSU. It's going to be LSU. That's why it's confusing because they were, they're a 2-loss team. But I was looking at the top 5 or 6 from last week. I'm like, who are we missing now? LSU is going to pop up there. They're either going to be 6 or 7. So it'll be interesting because if LSU is number 6 with 2 losses, it will roll through the top 25 one more time. I think that signals that maybe they could jump in there if they win out and somehow beat Georgia in the SEC title game. You've got your 20 through 16 Notre Dame back in the top 20. Oregon coming in, folks, at number 6. We'll cycle through LSU number 11 or Ole Miss number 11 there, and we get inside the top 10. Let's just go to the top 6, Jack, once we get Oregon on the screen. So Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, Tennessee, and Oregon. That's your top 6. LSU's number 7. We don't have to necessarily put them on screen since the committee did a little bit different this week and kind of focused on 7 teams there. Let's walk through the top 25 one more time, starting with number 25 and go all the way down. Before we do, I want to ask you guys, you see where Michigan's at. Grade the committee's rankings. I'm going to give them a B. I don't think it's terrible. They took a couple of risks, although I don't know if I necessarily understand why a 1-loss Ole Miss is ranked. I know LSU beat Ole Miss. That's their 1 loss. But still, Ole Miss or LSU has 2 losses. So I don't know if head-to-head sometimes, one team has 2 losses, one is 1. It's interesting. So I'm going to go with solid B. I think had Michigan been above Ohio State, I think they would have put a little more thought into it on who actually deserved it, who's proven themselves in the field, who's blown out pretty much every single team outside of Maryland. It's a 1-score game, but Maryland scored a last-minute cheap touchdown, or that would have been a multiple-score game for Michigan, would have won every game by double digits. I think I'm giving it a B. Let me know what you guys think. A, B, C, D, or F. Give me some pluses. Give me some minuses. Seeing a lot of Bs, B minuses, C's. Seeing A from Coleman Hefner. Bill Graves says another slap in the face. # motivation. Michigan should be number 2 from Deruva. Justin says B. Steve says B. Chase says C+. Pizpick says B. Better than the first rankings from Justin Courtney. I agree with that. Let's roll through the top 25, and I'll give you some more analysis on it. Washington, Kentucky, Florida State, UCF, Illinois, 25 through 21. Going up to the top 20, you've got Notre Dame at 20, Kansas State, Texas, Tulane, and North Carolina State. Texas is going to take on number 4 TCU on Saturday. A big game to look out for there. North Carolina, whose 1 loss is to number 20 Notre Dame. Penn State, who's lost to Ohio State and Michigan. Utah, UCLA, and Ole Miss, who will take on Alabama on Saturday, is your 15 through 11. Getting inside the top 10, Clemson, 1 loss. They lost to Notre Dame this past weekend, got crushed by 3 scores. Alabama. I'm questioning this Alabama one, right? I don't know why they're still ranked number 9. They've lost 2 games already, admittedly on the last plays of the game to Tennessee, field goal with the buzzer, 2-point conversion by LSU. But they probably should have lost 2 other plays. They could have lost to Texas. They could have lost to Texas A&M, who went for 2 to beat them as well. Didn't get it. LSU, they lost that. What would the season look like if LSU hadn't lost that opener to Florida State? I think they'd be in a big different place. But number 7 with 2 losses sitting here on November 8th, I think it's a really good position for LSU to be in. And I think it's already looking conspiracy theory, right? LSU wins out. They beat Georgia in the SEC title game. LSU, Tennessee, Georgia. Do they all get in with the Big Ten champion? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm not saying it's going to happen. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, Tennessee, and Oregon are your top 6. It's the college football playoff top 25 rankings reveal here on the Michigan Football Report from Chat Sports. Thank you so much for watching it with us here tonight. Now I want to kind of dive in to the Heisman Trophy. If you guys have not been following along, it's been one of the more popular stats in all, or the graphics in all of college football this year. Take a look at those stats across the screen. You got Mark Ingram. You got Derrick Henry. You've got Blake Corum. Now, Derrick Henry had a few huge games to end the year. Crazy stat. Between the Auburn game and the SEC title game in 2015, Derrick Henry had 90 carries. I'm not joking. 46 in one game, 44 in the next game. I really think they were trying to give him the Heisman Trophy that year. 4 games left for each of those guys, Ingram and Henry. They both played in the SEC title game. Blake Corum, he'll need the stats from the Big Ten title game, but I do believe at this point, barring some unforeseen circumstances, like an injury to Blake Corum, if Michigan beats Ohio State in Columbus, Corum has at least 300-yard games out of the last 4, including the Big Ten title games, and 5 or 6 more touchdowns total in 4 games, including the Big Ten title game. I think he has got the Heisman Trophy locked up, and the win against Ohio State will propel him, as long as he performs in that game, above C.J. Stroud, above 28-year-old Hendon Hooker, and win Michigan's first Heisman Trophy since 1997. Charles Woodson, it's been 25 years. Go ahead and comment who you think will win the Heisman Trophy. If you guys are watching live, keep commenting, keep the live chat going. We will continue to take your questions. If you're watching on demand, comment below in the chat. Let me know who you think will win the Heisman Trophy. Look, I'm an optimist at this point. Beat Ohio State again. Bosa going to beat Ohio State in Columbus, and I think Blake Corum, he is the guy, and I really would be proud of him and all the work and hard work he's put in over the years to get that Heisman Trophy from Michigan. I'm going to go Blake Corum. Let me know who you guys think in the live chat and in the comments. All right, we're going to give some shout-outs. That the segment we just recorded there, it's going to go up on the channel here later tonight, probably in 40 minutes or so from now. Going to give some shout-outs, and we're going to continue to keep it rolling. Don't go anywhere if you're watching live. The show's barely even started. We're going to do 15 or so minutes of your questions live. Then I'm going to jump into a Michigan-Nebraska preview. I've really dug into the film and the stats here on Nebraska. I have a good understanding of what Michigan's going to be facing against an admittedly weak Nebraska team coming up on Saturday. You know what we should do, Jack? We should do the candy corn game coming up here before we do the Q&A. That'd be a good one. So if you have $1 to spare, we're going to do the candy corn game here in a moment. So for every $1, I'm going to put 1 candy corn. So if you put 10, it's 10 in a 60-second period. Maybe nobody does it. That's fine, too. Takes it easier on my stomach. But Bob Hope says Hendon Hooker, hopefully. So Chase says Bosa. Eric Polit, is that how you pronounce it? Says Corum. Giving shout-outs. Andrew giving a shout-out. Carl Cordell, my guy. Bosa, go blue. Corum for Heisman. By Andrew from account 22. I'm not sure if there's some chat wars going on up there. Bo Peters, Dylan H., Tim Baker, John Morrison, Chris Moore, Bo Peters again. Thanks so much. COJ. He's saying Colorado State, Hawaii, and UConn. That's how Ohio State remained above Michigan. I guess. I mean, Michigan did everything you expect out of those games. It's not like it was 21-10 or 35-14. It was 59-0 and 54-10 and 56-7. So whatever, that's fine. Do 20 for good PR. I'm not sure what Carl's saying there, but maybe I'll just do there. Coobs says I vote James Yoder for 25K subs. So thank you so much. It's voting day, so vote for us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's take a look at the super chat menu. So we got to the 100 likes, and we're at 127 likes. So you haven't yet. 167 now. It just popped up. I just redid it. Like the video. Let's get to 200. We'll do 2 of these corn clocks. We've got $21 that have come in super chats, so really appreciate you guys. We did the wheel spin. If you didn't see it, I took 5 squats from the wheel of fun that producer Jack put together today. And so we'll do more of those. I actually did more. I think I did 6 or 7 squats. If someone wants to super chat $25, I will bring the Ohio State fan in the office into the room, and I will slap the shit out of him across the face. Not even fucking. I will slap the hell out of him. Right? It'll take out some long-standing anger against the Buckeyes. Candy corns are coming here in a second, Carl. I got them right here. We're gonna do that in a moment. So Jack, we'll put this up on screen here. So coming up here in a moment, we're gonna come back on screen. Anyone who wants to see me make a fool of myself before we do our Michigan football Q&A, before we do our Michigan and Nebraska preview, go ahead and super chat $1, $5, $3, $1. See how many candy corns I have shoved in my mouth. I said I was going to do 10 for the one guy, right, because he didn't really ask anything. So I'll start off with 10. Jack, we can bring it back to us. And then anybody type of me shout out. Hold on a second. Let me get the 10 first, Jack. And then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. So you guys see that? All right. Candy corn. So Jack is going to put the 60 seconds on, and then as soon as start over, Jack. Any super chats come through, for every dollar, I'm going to put another one in my mouth. Now I'm just going to shove 10 in my mouth. 60 seconds on the clock. Go. All right. Yeah. All right. It's pretty tough to eat 10 candy corns at one time, so I hope nobody sends any money in. I'm shooting them.
Get them in, folks. Get them in. Get the super chats in.
Eastside Zach with the me's. I'm chewing some candy corn here. We're going to have our Michigan football live Q&A here in just a moment, so stick with us here. 350 of you guys watching. Me from Enclave Starters. $30 seconds in, no super chat. Thank you so much, because I don't want to eat any more candy corn, because that's actually pretty damn tough to do. Put 10 in my mouth for the super chat we got earlier. So don't super chat, I guess, is the deal. This isn't working out as strongly. People didn't want to see it, so that's fine. Tim Baker says me. I'm going to toss a couple more in my mouth as we're waiting. 54, 55, no super chats come in, so we are going to just eat one more candy corn. Boom. It's done. Oh, there you go. Chris Fields, 5 more for you, my man. Coming in. Appreciate that. Toss that one on screen. There you go. 5 more for Chris. Damian Harmon says, as always, F Ohio. He doesn't support the Yoder hate. Yeah. Since we put out, I don't take orders from Michigan Football Athletics like the blog boys do. And so some of these guys, Wolverine Digest and whoever, MGO Blog, they don't like me very much because of the audience that we have built up, and that's fine. If those guys are access journalists, right? They want to be fans. They want to just go and do press conferences and get close to Jim Harbaugh, and they'll never put out a controversial story. They'll never break news because they don't want somebody to get mad at them that they did that. So appreciate it. We are locked in. We've got 2 or 3 really good sources around the Michigan football program, at least one that's in the building every single day. So we try and give you as much news as we can from inside Schembecker Hall. Chris, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Toss up this question on the screen. We asked you wide receiver. Now I know what you guys think. Eastside Zach, appreciate that. He says, not an ass kisser. That's exactly what it is. Like this Trey Morgan, do as many marshmallows as we can next week. Maybe that's the deal for next week, as many marshmallows as we can in the mouth. Bosa from Terry. I got Bart says AC. Chris Fields, 100%. Again, thank you so much for the super chat. And Chris Rettel says Bosa. Who is the best running back in Michigan football history? Rick Harford, Yoder for president. Not saying I'm not running. I'm not saying I'm running. I'm not addressing it at this time. Chris Perry, really good one. He'll be looked back at much like Blake Corum, I think. Chris Perry will. Is that he was only Michigan's true starting running back for one season in 2003, and he won the Doak Walker Award that year. And much like him, he was a backup or kind of a 1B in 2002, and he got a little bit here 2001. Blake Corum is only going to have 1 year as Michigan's full-time starter, and he will probably be a Heisman finalist. He'll probably win the Doak Walker Award. And he'll be seen as one of those guys that's maybe overlooked in the grand scheme of things. If he wins the Heisman, he won't be overlooked. But Chris Perry, had 2 years like 2003, I think he'd be up there as one of the 2 or 3 best backs in Michigan football history. Ton of my cards coming in. Jamie Morris, old school from the 80s, certainly is up there. Jamie Morris had a hell of a career with Michigan. I like that from Leon, says Denard, even though he only played running back for a handful of games at the end of his career, 2012. I always thought in 2010, 2011 season, I'm like, look, Denard Robinson, I know he's the quarterback. He's the best running back in America. Eric, would be hilarious if Harbaugh was Yoder's brother-in-law as his source or something like that. No comment. Denard here. $5 coming in from Dominic. I want to toss that one on screen. Dominic, should we do anything for you? Putting you up on screen. Appreciate it. I'm just going to. Oh, it's a wheel spin. Okay, I forgot that. I keep forgetting. Toss up the super chat menu for us for a second, Jack. All right. $5 super chat from Dominic. Appreciate it. We'll do a wheel spin. What's stop on red? 5 push-ups. Shit. All right. No, I'll do the push-ups. All right. Our camera doesn't go down, but trust me, Jack, you got a great Jack producer is going to grade me. No, Jack, no, but don't grade nice, right? Grade me accurately.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to watch him do the push-ups.
Gotta get this, make sure no. 1 second, I gotta make sure my microphone cords don't get ruined here. Okay, cool. Okay, ready?
All right.
All right, we're 1, 2, 3, go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Is it 5 or 10?
It's 5.
Oh, I'm doing 6 then.
6, 7.
What's up, 7 for now?
Overachiever. There we go.
All right, thanks so much. Winford with a $5 coming in as well, $4.99. Do we have to do another spin? All right, another spin. Pretty good form, I think, Jack. Jesse says, how's the form? Look good. Elbows in, all the way down, back flat, right?
I couldn't see the elbows. It's hard to see because there's not a lot of room in here, but it looks good.
Yeah, good. All right, one more spin from Winford. Let's take a look. Oh, I bumped it with my hand. Let me do it one more time. Sorry. Oh, what's this one? 5 more push-ups. All right, we're doing them. All right, 5 more, and then we are going to get on with the Michigan football report. I'm just going to keep the headset. Oh, shit. Okay, let me do the 5 push-ups really quick. Jack, give him the form.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look.
Messing around, no messing around. Hey, I don't do the minimum, right? Every one of those push-ups, I thought to myself, what am I going to do to help Michigan beat Ohio State, right? I mean, it's the least I can do. The least I can do, right? Put in extra work. 18 days till the game here. Michigan football report. Josiah Kiter. Gotta see a Buckeye fan get slapped. Jack, put me full screen. Or no, leave me with Josiah here. Okay, $5. Josiah, go grab the Ohio State fan in the office and bring him on in. Let's get slapped in the face. Oh, boy. All right, stick with me. Jack is going to go out into the bullpen here in the studio. Got 8 or 9 studios deep at Chat Sports. Find the Ohio State scumbag fan we've got here in the office. I'm going to slap the shit out of him. No cap. No doubt about it. So thank you so much. And appreciate everyone with sticking with us. We're going to get into some more Michigan football content here in a second. 280 people watching live. Go ahead and like the video. We're 193 likes. Let's get to 200 while we wait for Jack to bring in my Ohio State football fan who's going to get slapped upside the head. Whoa, did we lose? There we go. Okay, we're back. I don't know if we lost you for a second. Oh, got another one coming in, a tenner. Decided 20 slap that Buckeye. What uniforms for Nebraska? Haven't heard anything yet, which typically Brian's are waiting for the Ohio State fan to come in. What uniforms for Nebraska? Have yet to hear any rumors, which typically means it's standard blue uniforms with maize, blue jersey with maize pants. I'm interested to see if they add any accents to them. I love the maize accents with the white uniforms this past weekend. Angelo says this is a great slap away. I feel like, maybe the guy is filming something else right now. Okay. Oh, gosh. He's coming in. Why don't you put a mask on so they don't see you? Tortilla slap. Oh, okay. Okay. No. We got Ohio State fan coming in. Let's get him out of there. It's on the production team. Doesn't necessarily want to face the scene. So got a tortilla. It's a tortilla slap apparently. It's how we do it. All right, ready? Okay, Jack, you got this?
I don't know how to do a tortilla. You don't know how you do it.
I thought I was slapping you. I'm not getting slapped. I'm not. I told the people I was going to lay off on them. I was going to take out aggression as an Ohio State fan. What do you mean to do? Get this tortilla out of here. Don't trip. Sorry, I didn't know if you were, I didn't know you were that soft. A softy. Oh, man, Damien says, I'd say slap the teeth out of his mouth. I agree. So thank you so much for Ohio State, producer Ohio State fan who came in there. There's 2 Ohio State fans in here. One of the other ones is filming a little bit. So we had to grab Ohio State 2. Jack, go ahead and get that door for us as we go on there. Thank you so much. I slapped the shit out of him. He wasn't expecting it because apparently they do this tortilla slap. They do a little fancy boy stuff, right? I actually, pow! I smacked the shit out of him. So that's fun. That was actually pretty good. He was okay. I don't have to imagine it. Nice. Okay, there we go. No super chat as we're going to dive into our Michigan football report. Mailbag coming up in a second. Hippo character collapses to the ground as his chair breaks while the words, a sticker. I've never seen that. I don't know what these stickers are in super chats. Appreciate Matt Shook. I'm not sure. I did see the hippo thing. If you guys see at the top of the chat, it is the hippo wrecked. I think he's saying he's wrecked because Got it. So he's wrecked. I'm guessing he's wrecked because of the slap that I just slapped the shit out of the Ohio State fan. All right, cool. All right, super chat, and then we're going to dive in. So use hashtag Michigan throughout the show. We are going to take your questions live here in the Michigan Football Report. Tuesday night, election night. We are electing the best team in college football here, so use hashtag Michigan. Let's go to that super. We're going to wait till the cut to do it. Okay, cool. So keep using hashtag Michigan or super chat. Every single super chat gets here live on the show. You're watching the Michigan Football Report. I am your host, as always, James Yoder, taking your questions on Michigan football, ranked number 3 in the college football playoff top 25 that was revealed on Tuesday night. Really appreciate everyone who supports the show, tunes into our live shows. If you want your show, your question live on our shows when we go live every Tuesday during college football playoff ranking season between now and the first week of December. December will be on Sunday. Use hashtag Michigan, or we're getting a bunch of super chats that came in on the Tuesday live show. You can super chat. Always get your questions in on the air. First question coming in from Drunken Ryan Day. He says, who is more likely to be in the same job in 5 years, Harbaugh or Day? Jim Harbaugh, Ryan Day. Pretty interesting. So Jack tossed that one up to me. I typed him this message as we were taking questions. So create a quick graphic. Deep thoughts from James Yoder. Okay. So when Michigan beats Ohio State on November 26, 18 days from now, will Ryan Day be on the hot seat with Ohio State fans, Ohio State alumni, Ohio State boosters, whoever, if you will? Because he's up against some things that are interesting, right? Michigan hadn't beat Ohio State in 8 straight games, 9 seasons, 2011, and then the 9 seasons afterwards until 2021. But he didn't get the win at home in 2020. Even though the game wasn't played, it was canceled, all that stuff. So if he loses on November 26th, that's 3 straight years from a program that he is leading without a win against Michigan. Now, they're still one of the top 5, 3, 4, 5 programs in all of college football, regardless of beating Michigan or not. So I don't necessarily think he's going to get fired. His seat might warm up a little bit. And think about 2023. J.J. McCarthy coming back. Diamond Edwards, Junior Colson. Michigan's going to have a hell of a team, despite what people think that Michigan might fall off next year. Michigan will be favored next year, right? Ohio State will be breaking in a new quarterback, all this different stuff. The game will be at Michigan Stadium. Could definitely heat up in 2023. But I did have this one kind of thought a couple days ago. I do think that the Ryan Day offense does not fit well with the weather in Ohio. Fits there for 8 or 9, 10 games. Cold weather doesn't always make great for pass-happy offenses. Do you think at some point Ryan Day, if he goes 5th year, 6th year to Ohio State here in a couple years, then he might be thinking, well, I can't beat Michigan, right? I'm not beating Michigan like Urban Meyer and Jim Tressel did. Might he go for a job like a Florida State or, hell, in Alabama if Nick Saban were to retire, where he knows he's going to get warm weather and a guy like Coleridge Stroud doesn't wilt the first time the temperature drops below 40 degrees? It's something to consider. I'm not speculating that he will, but I do think it's not crazy to think about. Oklahoma's coach went to USC, right? Notre Dame's coach went to LSU. Could Ohio State's coach go to Alabama if the job came available? Something to ponder. Those are Yoder's deep thoughts. Subscribe to the channel for more insightful thoughts into my brain. Mamba24 says, excited about this team. Only thing that worries me is our defensive backs giving up big plays, more consistent in the pass game. Play calling has been bad at times. I think you hit a lot of things spot on. I've got some. Jack, do we have that list 3 that we can go over during the preview? The 3 things I need to see out of this team coming up this weekend about the JJ and the running game and all that stuff. Maybe we could toss up on screen if we have it. There it is. All right. Talking about that question coming in from Mamba 24. Here are Michigan's needs. I think this is the needs coming up this week, next week, against Ohio State, the Big Ten championship game, and the college football playoff. This is what this team is missing right now from being a championship-level team. And really, in a lot of ways, I think missing from last year. Okay? Wide receivers need to step up. It's not just J.J. McCarthy missing passes. Ronnie Bell dropped a pass. Luke Schoonmaker dropped a pass. Cornelius Johnson's been dropping passes or running bad routes all year. This wide receiver group has no leader. Ronnie Bell is a heck of a player, but he's not a number 1 wide receiver for any top 5 team. I don't necessarily think. He's not a Braylon Edwards. He's not a Jason Avant. He's not a Mario Manningham or anyone like that. Wide receivers need to step up. This Michigan wide receiver group is starting to see true freshmen get playing time because the older guys aren't getting it done. The offensive line, they need to man up. 9 handoffs from inside the 3-yard line to score 2 touchdowns last week in the first 2 drives. That's not the offensive line that pushed Ohio State around, that absolutely dominated Iowa, that dominated a bunch of teams last year, that had Hassan Haskins have 20 touchdowns. Our offensive line needs to man up. They've got injuries. Trente Jones is hurt. Ryan Hayes missed a game. Trevor Keegan left the game with an injury. So we understand that, right? But whoever's in the game, the position is the position, the standard is the standard, and the standard that Sharon Moore has put on this last 2 seasons for the offensive line is to be absolute badass, road graders, maulers, and the offensive line has not necessarily done that in every game. Penn State game, yes. I don't know why we saw that last week, especially inside the 5. J.J. McCarthy, lastly, needs to get more confident. I don't think that J.J. McCarthy is confident in himself when he throws the ball more than 15 or 20 yards downfield. He hasn't hit one of those passes in a while or really with any consistency. So those are my Michigan needs. Talking about the question that we just saw on the field, on the screen, if we get these 3 things, I think Michigan will be in the position to potentially win a national championship. Go ahead and predict the score. Michigan, Nebraska. While we're filming this live, I'll give a few shout-outs to people who are commenting their score predictions. I've been saying 42-10 last few days. I think I'll toss a couple questions. Tuck bailout coming from Michigan man Jason. I feel you there. Hard for the O-line to perform in the goal line when the opponent literally knows what you're running. Definitely a good point by Eastside Zach. He says, if you know you're just going to run the ball up the gut to Blake Corum, it's pretty tough for the offensive line to, 6 offensive linemen, 5 offensive linemen, and a tight end, whatever it is, to take on 8 or 9 guys. They know the ball is going right between the guards and the center. I totally agree with there. The offensive play calling has been wildly disappointing this entire season when Michigan's passing the ball or when they're inside the red zone. 38-7 from Cool Moti. Account 22 says 52-10. Eric says number 3, the J.J. McCarthy needs to be more confident. So true. 42-10 from Chrissy Brutton. 56-17 from Michigan man Jason. Eastside Zach, 33-13. 43-4-13 from Carl. Mike Hausa, 51-7. And Dennis Carroll, 52-0. Chrissy, I thought I said Chrissy, 42-21. Maybe she just put it on there twice. Chris Moore, 52-6. Chat Sports and the Michigan Football Report have partnered with BetUS. If you think Michigan will win by more than 29.5 points, head over to BetUS. Make the game a little more interesting, right? Win yourself some cash money and do it with the best deposit bonus in the game. 125% deposit bonus at chatsports.com/bet. Jax, if you can, see if you can go up there and toss that link in the live chat for us. Maybe I will as well. Chatsports.com/bet. I got it covered. I know where it's at here. Chatsports.com/bet gets you 100. I'm sorry, chatsports.com/go blue get you 125% deposit bonus. And then we're bringing it back for one more week. Michigan's in the top 3. I thought I'd bring it back for one more week. They let me do it. Jersey deal. Go to chatsports.com/GoBlue, sign up and deposit $100. Use that promo code GoBlue. Make your first bet. The deal expires Sunday night after the NFL game, so you've got 5 days to do it. And then email us, jersey@chatsports.com. So I'm putting the link in the live chat here. And what you've got to do, sign up and deposit with BetUS. Make your first bet. You will get a Michigan football jersey, the Jordan brand jersey. We've sent out a ton of them to you guys. We've run this intermittently throughout the season. Once you get going, email us there, jersey@chatsports.com, and we will ship from us to you. We've got a stack of them behind my desk now. Michigan football Jordan brand jerseys in all sizes chatsports.com/GoBlue. Promo code GoBlue. Use the promo code, use the link, or it creates a customer service hassle. And then email us with your account number. We'll get your size. We'll get you whatever address you want us to send to, and we will get that bad boy sent off to you. Chatsports.com/GoBlue. Bet US. Get going. Make a bet. Get a free Michigan football jersey. Cool Mo T says, when is the live Michigan watch party coming? Go Blue, Bosa, Yoder, greater than Scam Web. Appreciate all that stuff. The guys in the office have been trying to tell me to do a watch party, right? Because we do, 10 watch parties a week here at Chat Sports on NFL games. And our studio setup doesn't allow for my normal behavior habits, which we could change, of course. But I am very emotional, right? I am the kind of guy who will pace back and forth, will run up to the TV, will point at things, will scream. Well, I don't know if I can do it. I don't think you guys would enjoy it because I would pay no attention to the live chat. Our guys that do it for Raiders and Cowboys and Bears and all these teams, they do a really good job. But maybe if Michigan's up by 10 points or more in the second half against Ohio State, we'll go live. How about that, Jack? We'll go live in the second half against Ohio State, and you will just see me going nuts. So thanks for the $10 super chat, Cool Mo T. Does that we have to do a spin or anything, Jack? What's $10? Or is that 5 twice? Okay. Well, Cool Mo T, we're gonna do a couple wheel spins for you here in a moment. We'll take a few more questions. Jake comes up. He says, "Will Cade transfer?" Yes. I don't think that is a bad thing by any means from Cade McNamara. I don't think it means he loves Michigan any less or is any less dedicated to his teammates. The injury is still lingering, so there's some talk that maybe he won't play because he's still not 100% quite this year, but he's got 2 years of eligibility left. Now, there is a kind of a funny potential here. Is he's 2 years older than J.J. McCarthy, but they still have the same eligibility because Cade redshirted and then got the COVID 2020 no eligibility year. So there's a crazy theory that Cade could stay for one more year. J.J.'s the quarterback in 23. He leaves to the NFL. Cade comes back as the quarterback in 24, but I doubt that happens. I would guess that he's going to pick a Pac-12 school or a Big 12 school that has a ready-made team that goes 8-4, 9-3 or better this year, and is a quarterback away from potentially competing for a conference title. So keep an eye out for that. I'm sure within days after the Big Ten championship game when Michigan wins their second back-to-back Big Ten championship, that Cade McNamara will make some sort of announcement on where he goes. And whether or not he sticks around for the bowl games for Michigan College Football Playoff, I think is uncertain. But I think it's 99% at this point that Cade McNamara transfers after this season. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter. Team follow back. It's at James Yoder. Follow me on Twitter, and I will follow back the next 5 people who follow me from this show here. So it's at James Yoder on Twitter. Do we have the link anywhere? I was going to toss in the live chat. I don't think I had it ready for this. But at James Yoder on Twitter, next 5 people who follow me either on the live show or afterwards when we put this up onto the channel later on in the week, I will follow. If you're watching live, you've got the best chance of getting a follow back right now if I don't follow you already. So go ahead and follow me at James Yoder on Twitter. I'm going to follow back the next 5 people. Jesse coming in saying, do you think that we will finish strong in recruiting like we did last year, doing just as good or better this year? So I think what he's trying to say there is, look, Michigan is having a good year this year. Michigan had a good year last year. They finished strong last year, had a bunch of guys coming on signing day, right? This Michigan football recruiting class right now is among the worst we've seen, right? You've got to go back to like the last year of Rich Rod and last year of Brady Hoke, right? At 2010 and 2011 class, 2014 to 15 class. When you fire a coach to have a class that's not ranked inside the top 20, 22, 23, 24. So Nicholas Harbor, that's the big dog out there for Michigan. Top 15 player overall. Could play defensive end, could play tight end, could play wide receiver. I think Michigan actually gets him. And if they do, I think that kind of turns the tide a little bit. Michigan seems to have fallen behind on just being blatant about NIL, blatant about what guys are going to get when they come into Michigan. But I think that's changing. Michigan new president Santa Ono has met with Juwan Howard, met with Jim Harbaugh within the last week to talk about what Michigan can do to be more competitive in NIL. So I don't think it changes a lot with this class. I bet Michigan is a strong finish. They get 4, 5, 6 more guys, end up 17, 18, 19 in the country. But that momentum and this season, these last 2 seasons, will put them in a really good position, especially if Jaden Davis, who I expect to commit within the next 45 days or earlier, when you get a 5-star quarterback, I think that class ends up being top 5 or 6 in 2024. Go ahead and like this video. Don't jinx it. If you want to beat Ohio State again, it's been working for 2 years. Coming off a 2-4 season, we implemented the slogan "Beat Ohio State again." Bosa, and then last year we put this little tactic. I'm a superstitious guy. Sometimes if I'm sitting in a seat a certain way, I've got a leg crossed, whatever it is, Michigan scores a touchdown, I just leave my leg there the rest of the game. This has been working. It's only failed us one time in the Michigan State game last year. You know who you are. Like the video, and don't jinx it, because if you don't like it, you're going to ruin this entire season. Michigan, they probably won't beat Ohio State. Okay, Tony, DC 11, coming in. Diamond Edwards becomes a wide receiver next year. Do you think we have enough talent at running back for him to have a dominant running game? No, which is kind of the conundrum that Michigan is in. I believe from watching Diamond Edwards last year, watching him this year, watching Michigan's other wide receivers, that he's probably Michigan's best wide receiver, right? Who's made an athletic catch like he did in his touchdown catch on Saturday against Rutgers? He's fast. He runs great routes. He can catch the ball. He's had multiple contested catches down the sideline against Hawaii. He had that great catch. I think Michigan will be very well positioned to put him out wide as a wide receiver, starting wide receiver, for the rest of the season. But his role with this program needs to be at running back next year. Assuming Blake Corum goes pro like we all expect him to, you don't have enough depth in the backfield, right? Really, the 2021, you had Hassan, you had Blake Corum, you had Diamond Edwards. Now you got Blake and Donovan. There's not that next guy who's proven himself yet. You've got a recruit or two next year they're coming in, but they won't be ready for Diamond Edwards to move positions. But if he showed out this year, maybe you just have to put him at wide receiver next year. If you put him there for the next 3 or 4 games, Michigan would have to look heavily in the transfer portal to get a guy that can make an impact, big enough to allow Diamond Edwards to not be a one running back, but also go and be a wide receiver. Steve says, what are the chances both Michigan and Ohio State get in the CFP if the game is close? Well, the numbers say right now the chances are 54%, right, as of yesterday. ESPN's FPI, which I don't know how smart the people at ESPN are on analytics and all that different stuff. They say it's 54%. 86 or so percent Ohio State makes it, and like 68% Michigan makes it. Combined, those numbers come down to 54%, 3.9%. I think if you're a Michigan fan or Ohio State fan, and you lose that game, you hope it's a close game. You hope the team looked great. It was a great game. And other teams lose. You want TCU to lose to Texas this week. You're rooting for USC and Oregon and UCLA to kind of all take each other out. And you're rooting for quite a few other losses. Jack, do we have those schedules? Can we toss those up really quick if we have the opportunity just to look at them really quickly? What are the chances both Michigan and Ohio State make the CFP? Now, some of these teams can lose in their conference title game. Let's look at Ohio State, but the Pac-12 teams, TCU, I think will be helpful. Ohio State's schedule here, Indiana, Maryland, Michigan. They're not losing before Michigan. So, that's not really what we're talking about here anyways. How about TCU? All these games are losable, and then they probably have to play Texas or whoever else, TCU, or they probably have to play Kansas State or Texas or something like that again in the Big 12 title game. There's no divisions in the Big 12. So I think TCU having a loss here, I would say, is much higher than 50%. If they do, I think that eliminates them even if they win a conference title. Michigan, Ohio State loser gets in over them. How about Oregon? Washington? Utah? Maybe. The Pac-12 is not doing divisions again, or not doing divisions this year either, so they're going to have to face a USC, UCLA, or maybe a Utah potentially. I do think Oregon probably loses one more game. Okay, USC. UCLA, Notre Dame. Okay. I see a lot of losses in there. I don't know. I think all those teams outside of Ohio State before Michigan could slip up and lose a game, and if so, good chance. But what's really going to come down to, I think, is Michigan, Ohio State loser versus Tennessee or the Pac-12 champion, right? Whoever that is, if they have one loss, and what means more, a conference title game or a more dominant season throughout the year and a one loss if it's your last game of the year. How about this question here? Better Michigan football defense last year or this year? I don't know, Jim. Which one is the better defense? The stats right now, despite what you might think, say it's the 2022 Michigan football defense is better. There's no star power. Jim Harbaugh has called it the no-star defense. There's no David Ojabo, although Mike Morris has played well. There's no Aiden Hutchinson. There's no Dax Hill, although Rod Moore's playing well. Makari Page's having a nice season. So we'll see what happens the rest of the year. I think it's going to come down to, right, do they have the ability to keep Ohio State in check, right? C.J. Stroud threw for 360 yards, whatever it was last year. But every one of those yards was tough. Michigan had the perfect defensive solution for him. Let me know down in the comments, 2021 or 2022. Josiah says, I feel like play action to our tight ends could help our red zone issues. Do you think they're saving this for OSU? Maybe, right? I'm so confused with the offense we're seeing this year because when J.J. McCarthy rolled out there against Hawaii and then against UConn and he's passing the ball and he's hitting guys deep, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a more pass-happy offense than we've seen. Obviously, that's why they made the move to J.J. They're going to run more. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And then Big Ten season happened, and there's been spurts of it, but it hasn't been much of a different offense. And I don't want to say they've turned J.J. McCarthy into Cade McNamara Jr., but outside of the running, is the passing game any different? No, it's not. There's the factual answer. And last year, Michigan was hitting, I think they used the tight end a little bit better at times, but they were also doing different plays last year that I thought were exciting. They used the flea flicker a ton last year. They used the jet sweep to A.J. Henning a lot more last year. They used the read option sometimes more last year, although J.J. McCarthy's used it from here or there, and it was really good against Penn State when they used it. But I thought they would show a little more against Penn State, against Rutgers through the air in the passing game. It didn't happen. They went run heavy. That's fine. So I think this offense is what it is. I don't think Michigan's going to save anything drastic they haven't done. Now, you may see a flea flicker or two like you did last year during the Ohio State game. You may see that A.J. Henning reverse to score a touchdown like you saw in 2021, you saw in 2019 with Giles Jackson. But to think that they're going to come out with some drastically different offense or just go play action heavy or anything like that, I don't think it's going to happen because I just don't think watching Jim Harbaugh coach this team for 8 years and watching him at Stanford for 4 and 49ers for 4. I watched a ton of Jim Harbaugh. I've watched every game he's coached pretty much for the last decade. And he doesn't do that. He doesn't roll out this new grand offense for just one single game. He focuses on what's working, and he makes it work even more. We're up to 22,821 subscribers, so if you have yet to subscribe to the channel, it is the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports, live on YouTube on Tuesdays for the College Football Playoff Rankings reveal. Michigan is number 3 in the polls, in the top 25 rankings. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right below this video, or if you forget about it, need to come back later, send it to a friend as well. YouTube.com/MichiganTV. We are at 22,821. We got to get to 23,000 by game time. 3:30 kickoff against Nebraska on Saturday. Michigan Football Report. Subscribe now on YouTube, youtube.com/MichiganTV. All right, I want to ask you guys this question. Did you vote? Go ahead and type a Y for yes and N for no. I'm going to take a sip of this Bud Light beer. What are you guys, cheap or something like that? Might as well grab my water, too. Ugh. I'll lean over and grab that. Got my, I got a lot of stuff going here. I got candy corn. I got my established title certificate. 2 spins coming in. We're going to preview Nebraska. We are going to also take more of your questions as my my cords are getting pulled up on me because of the sit-up, the push-ups, and the squats I'm doing. All right, let's do again more. Refresh for you guys. The Blues say take a drink. The Yellows are a Bosa chant, which I guess we have to make up, right? Maybe it's like Bosa. 5 push-ups for the Reds, and the greens you can't see because of we use something called chroma key, so it looks like a green screen. Those are 5 squats. I've done the squats. I've done the push-ups. Let's see what this one is. Let's see where it hits. Where's that at? That's Bosa chant. All right. I got to do 2 though, right? So. Was it just the Bosa, like the Bosa, Bosa, Ka, Bosa, Ka, Ohio State scumbags, Ohio State fuck right day, Bosa, Bosa. Beat Ohio State again. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Okay, there you go. So here we go. One more spin for you guys as we I'm not that drunk, Justin, actually. I think it's only my first drink of the entire day. I'd like to be. Jack, why don't you go grab me one more beer out of the fridge in Studio C real quick, the blue ones. Yeah. All right, that one is take a drink, go blue. So Jack's going to grab me another drink, the blue ones from the fridge, and we will take another drink. There's a little bit left in here, but not enough to constitute an actual drink. We've also got, by the way, I'll put it up on screen, we've got the Beat Ohio State to get beer bong. So if anyone wants to see me take a beer bong, I can't remember, it was like $25 or something like that, or $100. I can't remember what it was. We will do a Beat Ohio State Again beer bong. When Jack grabs me the drink, I will, thank you, take the drink, and then we will continue on with our Michigan and Nebraska preview. Here you go. I will take a drink for the spin. Oh, shit. A little foamy there. Making a mess around this place. And what happened to my my jacket? There we go. Put the coat down here. So, Jack, what is the toss up the super chat menu before we jump into the Michigan and Nebraska preview, if you can, for me? Toss this jacket on. Whew, it's getting a little chilly here. So we'll spend $25. So $100 is the Bosa bong. So if anybody, is that total or is that one person? Okay, cool. So if anyone wants to spend $100 and see me beer bong, Toledo Rockets on TV tonight. Interesting. Maize is Indian for corn. That's true. That's true. Luis Pap, my guy. Luis, I think we got a jersey that's coming your way. I think it just shipped out in the last day or so. So thank you so much for getting started with BetUS. Luis has got a jersey. I saw that one come across. So appreciate you always supporting the show. Someone please pay for the Michigan Bosa bong. Appreciate it. Maybe I'll just do it myself once we get through this show. So, Jack, are we going to do the preview now? All right, why don't we toss the video on top and make your post-production work a little easier, the little intro video. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Never mind. You're right. We're going to do a little cold open on that bad boy. Let me find my spot here in the video. All right, that is the super chat menu. If you want to super chat, 100 likes. I think we've got to do another corn clock at some point. We've hit 200 likes, so we'll do that here in a little bit. Anyone who super chats $1 or more will get you at the top of the line. We'll take your question here live on the Michigan Football Report. $5 super chat, a wheel spin. I'm doing push-ups, sit-ups, doing a Bosa chant song I'm making up on the fly or chugging a beer. $25, someone does that, I'll slap an Ohio State fan, although I think the Ohio State fan may have left at this point. So everyone's gone, so maybe I'll have to slap my I can't slap me. Jack, we're calling him Young Harbaugh, so maybe I'll have to I'll slap some. Don't $25 because the Ohio State fan has gone home for the night. And then cool. If we did one, I will slap the shit out of the other Ohio State fan in the office tomorrow, and I'll post it on Twitter if somebody $25. And if someone sends in $100, I will take a beer bong from the self-made Bosa beer bong that I made myself, and I'll tell you what, I'm pretty proud of it. So we are going to preview Michigan and Nebraska. I have some pretty interesting news coming up on injury. It's all coming up from the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports right now. A Hobbled Heisman Trophy candidate is the story of the day for this Michigan football program. Not a lot of people talking about this, but got good word late into the evening on Tuesday that Blake Corum, you saw him take a bunch of hits. You saw J.J. McCarthy take a bunch of hits too on Saturday against Rutgers. But there was some talk Sunday, the return trip on Saturday night, Sunday into Monday, that, hey, maybe they would sit him out for a game, right, against Nebraska, get him healthy for Ohio State. That is not a firm decision as of yet. But we've been told that Blake Corum has multiple minor nagging injuries, not as severe as his high ankle sprain ones last year that kept him out of a couple games. But his status on Saturday against Nebraska is not certain. I want to be very clear to you guys here. I am not saying Blake Corum is going to sit out the game. I'm not saying he's not going to play on Saturday. I'm telling you that if Michigan wasn't 9-0 and he wasn't in the middle of a Heisman Trophy campaign, his injuries are more severe than they set out guys this past week against Rutgers or have in past weeks. Roman Wilson's missed a couple games. Blake Corum is dinged up in multiple spots a little more than guys who have sat out games in the past. So the plan is to play him as of this point, but they don't want to risk further injury and have him miss the Ohio State game or have him be only 80% against Ohio State. So I will keep you up to date on this story throughout the day. As get this information on Tuesday night. We'll have all kinds of time to talk with you about it on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday, even into the morning on Saturday. Anything we can get, we will give it to you. It's the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports, always bringing you the injury news you need to know before any of the blog boys. We are going to dive into Michigan versus Nebraska, all coming up on the show right now. I'm going to talk about the major keys to a W. I think Michigan should absolutely wipe the floor with Nebraska. But I think there's been times over the years with Jim Harbaugh where you expect a 56-10 victory and you get a 27-14 victory, or a game like Maryland this year. Just a few things that you want to keep an eye on, a few players on the offensive side I'll focus on here for Nebraska, and just talk about what Michigan needs to do to have this game be a catalyst to jump forward and make this a team that can beat Ohio State in less than 3 weeks. If you guys, folks, would like to beat Nebraska, I know I've asked you guys this before against plenty of times throughout this season and into last season. If you'd like to beat Nebraska, just say if you'd like to beat them by 40, go ahead and like this video. Don't jinx it, because I feel like this thing has worked, right? You don't jinx it. Everybody does it. We're all on the same page. We get a bunch of likes. More Michigan football fans see the video, and the support goes towards this team. They feel the love. They get the victory. Don't jinx it. Hit that like button here on YouTube. Take a look at the matchup between these teams. Michigan was number 5, but now they're number 3. We'll get that changed. It's not a big deal, Jack. We'll get that changed at some point. But Nebraska right now is 3-6. Their scoring offense right now is number 86 in college football, number 91 defense. They're giving up 29.5 points a game. Michigan 9-0, number 5 scoring team in college football on offense, number 3 scoring team, least amount of points given up on defense, only giving up 12 per game. And if you think about this, guys, the first string Michigan defense, if you take away pick sixes or block punts or scores in the fourth quarter in those first 3 games, I think the stat I saw was Michigan's only giving up like 7.7 points a game if you take out the late scores in the first 3 games against the fourth-string defense or special teams or defensive touchdowns that the first team wasn't on the field there. The game is 3:30. It's on ABC. Michigan is a 29.5-point favorite. If you're going to the game, enjoy it. The second to last home game of 8 home games this year for this Michigan football team. The player I am watching for is Trey Palmer. He is 3rd in the Big Ten, I think 11th in the country, already with 819 receiving yards. He's got 53 catches, which actually isn't a crazy number. So he's on pace for like 70, 75, but 3rd in the Big Ten right now in receiving yards. He is their best playmaker, and you might make the argument that in some games this year, he's been their only playmaker. So keep an eye out for Trey Palmer, 3rd in the Big Ten. He is my guy to key on. If Nebraska's going to make this a game, it's going to be by going deep to Trey Palmer, getting Trey Palmer underneath, let him use his speed, and up the sideline, etc. So that is the guy I think that if Nebraska's going to make this a game, it's going to be because of Trey Palmer. All right, this was talked about 3 years ago, and I've heard whispers of it, right? And so I tossed it in as this part of the video, and you guys will get why I'm asking this here in a second. But there was talk in 2019, before the pandemic, before the whole world changed in a lot of ways, that Michigan would play an overseas game. That talk is renewed a little bit. I don't think it's imminent, but I do think Michigan is considering it for like the 2026, 2027, 2028 years, where there might be games as the Big Ten switches up their schedule with 2 new teams coming up in 2024, USC and UCLA. What country should Michigan play an overseas game in? I want to know what you guys think. A lot of options there. People have said Dubai. I guess that's not, is that a country? United Arab Emirates, Japan, maybe a game in Tokyo, maybe a game in London. How about a game in Scotland? And if we got a game, we could go visit our Established Titles plot. This show is sponsored by Established Titles. Established Titles is an awesome company, folks. They are a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number and a private estate in Eddleston, Scotland. Maybe Michigan should play there. And an official certificate with a crest. They plant a tree with every order, and they work with global charities such as One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. You could officially include the title Lord or Lady on your credit card. Lord James Yoder, your plane ticket. Lord James Yoder, or Lord Jack Lotteray on your dating profile, Jack. That could, I don't know, it could be doing some good things for you. A great last-minute gift. If you've got anyone who likes, Scotland, English, anything like that, this makes a great gift. We've had a ton of people buy them. The first 200 people who buy a title pack using my link, establishedtitles.com/chatsports, will effectively have a plot within walking distance of mine, depending on how many you become a lord or a lady. We can build a Michigan Football Report kingdom over there in Eddleston, Scotland. It makes a great last-minute gift this holiday season. You get this certificate, you get a plot of land in Scotland, and you can officially be a Scottish landowner or a lord or a lady. They're running an amazing Black Friday sale right now, up to 80% off. Plus, use that link, establishedtitles.com/chat. It's down in the description. It's down in the comments of today's video. you'll get an additional 10% off. A great last-minute gift this holiday season. Kind of think about it as if you buy like a star. You name a star for somebody. You buy a plot of land in the rainforest, or you sponsor a tree or something like that. Same kind of concept, but you also get this amazing, really well done certificate framed sent to you. This is their frame they sent to me. It comes in the mail. It's awesome. I've got it up on the wall in my office. EstablishedStars.com/chat. Take an extra 10% off. Black Friday sale going on right now. Don't miss it. Can get up to another 80% off. EstablishedStars.com. Link in the comments and the description of the video. Take a look at Nebraska's offense, all right? They stink, right? They are a bad offense in a lot of ways. And the bad is getting a little worse as we talk about some injuries they're dealing with here coming up in a second. But this is the number 73 offense in the country at 387 yards per game. They're number 60 in passing, 243. They can't run the ball with crap, number 74, 143 yards per game. And they can barely score. They're getting up more points, of course, they're 3-6, than they're scoring 25.6 points per game. How about this little stat? Alert. Oliver Martin. Remember Oliver Martin? He was in the same recruiting class, I'm sure most of you guys know this, as Donovan Peoples-Jones and Nico Collins and Tariq Black and Dylan McCaffrey. The 2017 number 5 overall ranked Michigan football recruiting class. Harbaugh's best class, but actually turned out to be his worst class because almost none of those guys panned out. A few of them did, but not really many of them. Oliver Martin, in his 6th year of college football, he played 2 years at Michigan, 1 year at Iowa, and that was his 3rd year at Nebraska. As far as we could tell, we put the stats and research team on it for the last 48 hours. Oliver Martin is the only player in college football history to catch a pass from 3 schools in the same conference in college football history. So we have a fun little stat. I thought he'd have a nice career at Michigan, but never really turned out to be athletic enough to see the field more than a couple snaps in garbage time in his 2 seasons at Michigan in 2017 and 2018. That's a little stat, but he gets some playing time for Nebraska, so keep an eye out for him on Saturday. Who are the real 97 national champions? If it was Nebraska, go ahead and type an N down in the comments or the live chat. That means you're a cop. That means you're infiltrating, because no one believes that. Nebraska lost a game that year. They got bailed out by the refs on that kick from Missouri. It was like the guy caught the ball, was on the ground. He kicked it up in the air, which should have been a dead ball. They didn't call it. So it shouldn't even have been a deal. But I think if Michigan played Nebraska that year, they would have beat them 27-10 or something like that. I didn't think Scott Frost. They fired him in Nebraska. I don't think he would have been a good enough player or coach to beat Michigan. Type M for Michigan, N for Nebraska. Let's light these comments up with some M's. 1997 national champs. Nebraska could be looking pretty on a Saturday. 2020 4-star quarterback Chuba Purdy. It's Brock Purdy's brother, the former, right? Iowa State quarterback. I think he's on to the NFL. Yeah, he is. I think he's on a roster now. 49ers. That's right. Yeah, San Francisco 49ers. He making the start again against Michigan, right? He was a top 200 player in the 24/7 Sports Composite in the 2020 class. Went to Florida State. Got some playing time there, right? He wasn't just sitting on the bench, but he transferred to Nebraska. They had a couple of transfer quarterbacks this year. He got the start this past week against Minnesota, but he got pulled out, right, here and there. He was not, a sure thing by any means. Another quarterback they've got, Logan Smothers. They were alternating drives in the second half. You can see why. 6 of 16 for 41 yards for Chubby Purdy. No touchdowns. He threw an interception. That's his passing stats in his first start. The guy who was replacing, Casey Thompson, had an injury. I've read it's a nerve injury, but to be honest, I haven't really paid attention to Nebraska because they're 3-6 and have got all that. But Casey Thompson missed the game last week. They said it was a nerve injury. So there's some talk that Chuba Purdy will get his second start versus Michigan. I doubt we find out until Wednesday, Thursday, maybe Friday. I'm not sure when they'll make the official announcement. But even if Casey Thompson gets the start, he hasn't been that good so far this year after being the starting quarterback for Texas last year. Transfer when Quinn Ewers went in there. 12 picks, 10 interceptions. So either way, they certainly have a better shot if Casey Thompson is playing. If not, Chuba Purdy went 6 of 16. He may be the starter for his second time against Michigan this Saturday. Knowing what they have at quarterback, Casey Thompson may be missing the game, and even if he does play, he'll likely be a tad injured, not 100%. How many passing yards will Nebraska have versus Michigan on Saturday? We know they've got a great wide receiver in Trey Palmer, so you can't discount their passing game that they're going to do nothing, and likely they'll be down the entire game, so they're going to have to pass more than run to catch up to Michigan. So anyone saying like 100, 110, you're kind of crazy. I'm going to say 220 is the number they're going to have, right? Even if it's Chuba Purdy, I think he's going to throw so many times in the second half that He'll get a few, right? They'll convert on some passes. I'm going to say 210 is the number. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, how many passing yards Nebraska will have versus Michigan. If you've been watching our entire live show, you may have seen some of these stats here, some of these takeaways. But Michigan's needs, what I want to see from them this game against Nebraska, next week against Illinois, going to the Ohio State game, you got to have it or you're not going to win in Columbus. And hell, if you get that win, which I think Michigan will against Ohio State, you're going to need this in the Big Ten championship game and certainly in the college football playoff where Michigan, frankly, was not competitive with Nebraska last season. Number one, wide receivers need to step up. They have not done it so far this year. Ronnie Bell looked like he was having a kind of a resurgent comeback year after injury, but a lot of drops in these guys. Cornelius Johnson hasn't impressed me. The tight ends, Luke Schoonmaker, he's had a nice year, but he had some drops last week. Ronnie Bell, Roman Wilson's missed 2 games out of the last 4 or 5 with injury. And now Michigan's playing Amarian Walker and other freshmen right now. Angela Anthony hasn't done anything, right? So this wide receiver group is massively underperforming, and I think it's getting worse by the game. Number 2, the staple of this Michigan football offense is their ability to maul people on the offensive line. So some people have some good points. My guy, Eastside Zach, said, you can't maul people when they've got 8-9 guys stuffed in the box and you know you're going to run it inside the 5, inside the 10 like Michigan does at a higher rate under Jim Harbaugh the last 2 seasons than any team in college football. They run in the red zone. But nevertheless, this offensive line has done a good job this year, but I do think they're going to need to absolutely blow people off the ball inside the 10, inside the 15, because I don't think Michigan's got the passing game or, number 3, the confidence from their quarterback to develop a passing game in the red zone this late in the season. If Michigan's going to beat Ohio State, it's either going to be on long passes, bombs from McCarthy 40 yards out or more, or a running catch where a guy takes it a long way, or it's going to be multiple runs or a 10 or 15-yard run inside the red zone from Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, J.J. McCarthy on his feet, or maybe A.J. Henning in one of those reverses like he got in last year's game to kick off the scoring. He scored the first touchdown, then Hassan Haskins the next 5 for Michigan. But I don't think J.J. McCarthy has confidence going down the field. I certainly don't think the team, the coaching staff, or McCarthy himself have any confidence in the Michigan football passing game once you get inside of the 20-yard line. Take a look at what Nebraska's done in the last 5 years. They're 3-6 right now. Kind of looking left of your screen, going right. The last 5 years, 2021, 3-9. Wow, that was year 4 under Scott Frost. 2020, in the COVID-shortened season, they went 3-5. 2019, 5-7. 2018, 4-8. I think that's the year Michigan dropped like 50-some on them in Scott Frost's 3rd or 4th game as Nebraska's head coach. Mike Riley was the head coach in 2017. They went 4-8. So, if anything, I think you could say Mike Riley was a pretty bad hire, pretty bad coach coming over from Oregon State to Nebraska. He only lasted 3 years there. The golden child, the I'm coming home king, Scott Frost, is going to be Nebraska's Jim Harbaugh. He made the program worse, right? And he was fired after 3 or 4 games this year. They're on pace to go 3-9 for the 2nd straight season. Can you imagine this, folks? Nebraska going 3-9 for 3 straight years, 3-5 the year before that, 9 wins over a course of 3 seasons. That's something I never would have thought, thinking back when I was growing up in the mid-90s, early 90s, early 2000s, where Nebraska was basically winning national titles or up in the top 1, 2, 3 teams in the country every single poll. We're approaching 23,000 subscribers, 22,825. Subscribe to the channel. Most of the people who watch live, I'm guessing, are existing subscribers. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Really appreciate it. I'm not going to Columbus, but I will be doing a post-game show, maybe a live show. We said we're up in double digits in the second half. Michigan, we're going to do live show, Jack. But make sure you subscribe. We'll have a video every single day from now through the end of the season. And then we go in the offseason about 3 shows per week. 22,825. We need 175 more to hit 23,000 before kickoff on Saturday. Take a look at this Nebraska team so far this year. They started off the game overseas, right? Maybe, I think it was in Scotland. Maybe they were doing the Established Titles Bowl over there against Northwestern in week 0. They lost that one. They lost to they beat North Dakota, then lost to Georgia Southern, coached by Clay Helton. Lost to Oklahoma. They beat Indiana. Okay, cool. They beat Rutgers. Okay, cool. And then they've lost 3 straight games. Purdue, Illinois, and then last week against Minnesota. This is a 3-6 team, 2-4 record. So it makes me ponder. I kind of alluded to there a second. Is Nebraska still a top 15 program? Clearly they're not ranked top 15. Clearly they haven't been ranked top 15 in a long, long time. But just 5 years ago, they got the prize, all right, of college football coming out of the 2017 season. There were two coaches that every school wanted, okay? One was Scott Frost, had just left UCF to an undefeated season in 2017. The other one was Chip Kelly. They both kind of spurned Florida, the Florida Gators, who both wanted them, wanted both those guys. Chip Kelly took the UCLA job. He's kind of had up or down, but he's kind of on the upswing there at UCLA. And Nebraska has already fired Scott Frost midway through his 5th season. So is Nebraska still a top 15 college football program? I say yes. You might be surprised by that. I do say yes because they've got 3 national titles in the last 30 years. Almost no schools outside of Alabama, LSU, and who else can say that in the last 30 years they have 3 national titles? Hell, even Ohio State just has the 2. And those are all, 94, 95, 97. So that's that. And they sell every single game. There's only 4 or 5 or 6 programs in all of college football, most of them in the Big Ten, that do 85,000 plus every single game. It's Michigan, it's Ohio State, it's Penn State, it's Nebraska, Notre Dame, and then, Alabama, but not every game. And I think that's why Nebraska is still, to me, a top 15 program, top 15 head coaching job. Let's give a shout out to Elon Musk. All right, Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX, the CEO of Tesla, and now the owner of Twitter. Since he took over about 10 days ago, my engagement has gone through the roof. My week over week, funny enough, the 10 days prior to him owning Twitter, the 10 days since he's owned Twitter, my followers and my engagement, impressions on my tweet have nearly tripled. So thanks, Elon. He's unshadow banned me. I don't know if that was the case why all of a sudden things are exploding for my Twitter account. So I want to thank him for unshadow banning me if that's what happened. And I ask you guys to follow me. It's at James Yoder. If you're watching this live, I am going to follow back the first 5 people when I pull up my phone when we're done with the show. First 5 people who followed me in the live show, I'm hitting you with a follow back. We're still live here on Tuesday night, the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. 175 people watching here. Let's blow up the chat. We have 249 likes, 48 likes here on the show. Got some comments here. I'm going to give some shout-outs here, some me's from all you guys. Let's take a look here. I would just see Eastside Zach come in with a question. I think you've got that coming up. We've got a few super chats coming up here in a moment. Hey, Justin, I know I've got to hit you back. I'm literally getting like 40 or 50 DMs a day, but I'll sync up with you here in a second. Justin Courtney's hitting there. Eastside Zach, me. Cornelius Canamore, me. iMiller77. Hey, put your Twitter account in the live chat right now. I'll give you a follow back. iMiller, who just sent that says I've been following you for over a year and can't get a follow back. You put your link to your Twitter account in the chat right now, and I'll give you a follow back. iMiller. Jesse Ariola says me. We got a me from Luis Pap. Go Blue, me, and no effing way, not even top 50. I think he's talking Nebraska. Keep going. I bet Quorum for Heisman August. $10 to win 1,000. Moyo says that. That's a pretty big one. That's pretty cool. Carl says me. And then Harv says me, new subscriber. I'm still waiting for the link from my guy who said he's followed me for a year on Twitter. There it is, at Miller. Well, if you put the link so I could click on it, but that's fine. I'll go to Twitter right now, and I will give my guy there a follow. You made it hard for me. You just put your handle. So, no, Twitter.com. I'm going to have to search for him because I try to just go direct here. Keep the me's coming. I'll give more shots. There we go. I see your account there. Boom. Follow. He's a Michigan fan. He's a Capitals fan, 49ers fan, Nets fan, and Rockies fan. If you're not in the military, your parents were, and you're moving all over the country, you've got some explaining to do because you've got Michigan, you got D.C., you've got Brooklyn, you've got Colorado, you've got San Francisco as your teams listed on your Twitter profile, but I'm following you back there. Type me if you want to shout out. I'll give you a few more here. Cody Cole, Rick Harford, Carl again. He says, my dad. So his dad was, I knew that. See, I'm a man of the people, Jack. He says his dad was in the military. Henry Otto says me. Chad Odie says me with the capital, with the Michigan M. So does Cody said that as well. Keep the live chat going. We've got more super chats coming in. I'm going to take question. Every super chat gets you live on the show. Shane Johnson, my guy, Miami Shane, went to the Michigan game a few weeks ago. He was sitting, I think it was the Penn State game, right, Shane, with your daughter, I believe with your mom. There's some pictures out there of you sitting front row, if I recall. Great stuff there. Edwards needs to be on the field with Blake Corum all the time to get that W in Columbus. Wide receiver room what does it say? Dissension with all the talent is bizarre. Number 2 told D, keep on dominating. Thank you so much for the super chat, Shane. Look, I agree with you. Michigan's wide receivers are weak right now. It's either the coaching, or it's the play calling, or it's the wide receivers' talent. Something's not working. J.J. McCarthy is not the light the sky up passer that we thought he was going to be. We understand he's a sophomore. We understand he's only started 8 games now for Michigan. But the wide receivers definitely need a little jolt. I do think that Diamond Edwards being a wide receiver, splitting out, hell, even if he's not starting, split him out as a wide receiver 10 times, 15 times over the next 3 weeks. Give Ohio State something else to think about. Shane, because you did the $5, we're also going to do one of these bad boys. Woo! Over $100 in super chats. Really thank everyone who did that. 5 squats for Shane. I'm going to give him 5 squats. Jack, you got to grade my. I'm going to unplug my cord here, my mic cord. Now I'm going to go down. Give me a grade on these squats, Jack. Let me go. Oh, I think I'm feeling the burn because I did those squats earlier. 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do 2 more just because we're overachieving, right? Do a couple jumping jacks. All right. Thank you so much, Shane. Appreciate the $5 super chat. Keep it rocking, my man. I really wish I came out of Miami last year because if I recall, you've got a place there, and we were going to have a wild party if Michigan were to beat Georgia last year in the college football playoff. Eastside Zach, where is Darius Clemens? We need to play him more in the money zone, right? In the red zone, catching those touchdown passes. Look, it's confusing what is going on with his wide receiver rotation because Cornelius Johnson, whatever he does, he doesn't lose playing time. Andrew Anthony, he can't seem to catch the ball anymore, and when he is wide open, J.J. McCarthy kind of, instead of just lofting it up there, let him walk 70 yards in for a touchdown, he tries to fire it and just doesn't hit the long pass that was right there for Andrew Anthony last week. They try to reverse to Anthony. I don't think that's his game, right? I don't think Andrew Anthony has the body type or the high-end speed or the agility to be taking reverses when Michigan desperately needs some yards. So I do think that they need somebody who can go up and catch a dang ball in the red zone with a defender on them when everybody knows the passes has to come, when it's 3rd and 6 from the 12-yard line or something like that. And the only guy we've seen do it this year, right, I think, is Diamond Edwards last week, right? Name another guy who's outmaneuvered, outmuscled somebody, ran a great route, and just out-athlete somebody, go up and get a ball. Diamond Edwards did it against Rutgers. I don't know if I've seen it many other times this year. All right, what do we got? Any more questions coming in here, Jack? Keep it rolling. Oh, wheel spin. Yeah, that's what I'm like. Well, Jack, go to the next question. Wheel spin, $5. Zach's wheel spin. Put your motherfucking hands up. We got that one. Blue is take a drink. All right. I'm going to chug some of this fine craft Bud Light beer. Two chugs for my guy Eastside Zach because he's been such a long supporter of the show. Really appreciate you, Zach. I feel like I got to break bread sometime, man. Go out and have some drinks. So DM me on Twitter. Maybe we can make it happen here in the future. Huron JM says, do you think Green will still have open spot when he comes back? We'll look good. So I'll admit, I got some intel on Thursday, or is it Friday, Jack? When we do that video? Friday morning, texting and then phone call with the parents of a Michigan football player, and he gave me the rundown. And he said, G-Mon Green, this told me some other things, but I was caught off guard. G-Mon Green actually did travel. I don't know if that was as a like a camaraderie thing or like, hey, you've had a tough week. And there is some speculation that the reason he didn't start was more or less, hey, you've been at the eye of this controversy all week. You got hit over the head with a helmet just 7 days ago. You don't need to be on the field this week. We don't need you to beat Rutgers. But Will Johnson got in the game, looked pretty good. Will Johnson's the future, right? If you think about Michigan's team in 2023, 2024, if they're going to win anything in 2023, 24, Big Ten, beat Ohio State, national championship, it's going to be because on defense you can keep that pass rush that's been going so well for a number of years. But then Junior Colson turns into an All-American. Will Johnson, comes up and becomes a sophomore superstar, junior All-American in 2024. On the offensive side of the ball, we know who the guys are there. It's J.J. McCarthy next year. After that, it's a little murky, right, from the quarterback position, but I don't think it's crazy to think that JJ could stick around for his senior year in 2024. But Will Johnson's going to be one of the 2 or 3 guys you're looking at next year and the year after that says that Michigan is going to beat Ohio State, win a college football playoff game, get to a national championship game. Will Johnson's going to be one of the guys that's going to have to step up and get him there. So excited to see. I do think Jamon Green will reclaim his starting spot, but it'll be kind of like the safeties were earlier in the year where Rod Moore, Makari Page, RJ Moden were all kind of rotating in there, equal amount of snaps. I think that's what you're going to see from Will Johnson, Jamon Green, and DJ Turner. Eric Polite, however we pronounce it, I appreciate it, Eric. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Will Michigan hire a red zone specialist or true single coordinator if they don't beat Ohio State again? Bosa, I think back to 2019 season. 2019 season, then 2018 season, right? I think one of Jim Harbaugh's biggest mistakes was not recognizing how impactful that 2018 game was, where Michigan went in number 4 in the country, down to Columbus, favored by a field goal. Ohio State was one loss, but ranked number 8, and they had a really tough year. They'd given up 50 in a win the prior week to Maryland, and they waxed the floor on Don Brown's defense, and everything Don Brown did was completely exposed by one of the greatest game plans in college football history by Ryan Day and Urban Meyer, and he didn't fire Don Brown on the spot. You give up 62 points, you keep your offensive coordinator for 2 more seasons. Next year in Ann Arbor, the same thing happens. Finally, when everyone was calling for his job, myself included, 2-4 season in 2020, absolute disaster, he finally cleans house. But not even enough to get rid of Josh Gaddis, who was an absolute disaster as offensive coordinator for those first 2 years, and he wasn't really the OC in year 3. We're seeing what's happening with Miami right now with Josh Gaddis to prove our point here that he wasn't really Michigan's offensive coordinator in 2021, despite what others might tell you. So still going all the way back to this question is just kind of thinking about inside the mind of Jim Harbaugh. If they go down to Columbus and lose by 14 points or more, which I don't think they will, but it's not crazy to think about. It's happened plenty of times, multiple times with Jim Harbaugh as the coach. They've lost, 2015, 2018, 2019, they lost by that many to Ohio State. I think he really needs to look inside and says, what's missing from this team? How are we going to start? Are we going to win a game at home? How can we win this game on the road? How can we then beat Georgia or Alabama? And Michigan has to come up with a passing game inside the red zone. So whether it's Sharon Moore moving on to a head coaching job, which is starting to kind of come a rumor right now, or Michigan comes up with some sort of specialist, I think it's all going to come down to what happens in Columbus. If red zone play calling is the difference between a win and a loss, I think you might have your answer there. Did you vote today? Go ahead and get live in the comments. What are we sitting here? 7:33. So we've been live for about an hour and 48 minutes, Jack. Okay, cool. So we'll keep taking a few more questions. We'll probably pop off here in a few moments. 165 people still watching, 256 likes. We've got $100.91 of Super Chat. We've never really done Super Chat so far before on this show, so appreciate it. We got like Mitchell Renz as a random show today. They got $1,500 in Super Chats, but really appreciate you guys. 100 is nothing to sneeze at, and it really helps out our ability to grow this show this year and beyond. So did you vote? Colin Faith says no, he's too young. Well, Colin, when you turn 18, you make sure you register and go and vote. Kenneth Baker voted. Michigan. Look, Account 22 says Michigan was 5 out of 6 in the red zone against Rutgers. And keep the Y's and the N's coming. I want to address that. They were, but tell me, Account 22, which of those red zone trips did they score? I don't want to say with ease, score with authority. The Diamond Edwards touchdown pass. It took kind of a miracle athletic catch to score. The first 2 runs, well, we saw what happened. They needed 4th down on both those to get in the end zone. There was another touchdown pass from J.J. McCarthy. I think it was, to Cornelius Johnson, if I recall correctly. Okay, fine. But what I'm talking about from the red zone, this is Rutgers. Okay, this is Rutgers. What I'm talking about from red zone is when you get into the 12-yard line, it's 3rd and 2. You don't just run to the left of the guard, to the right of the guard every single time. Everyone knows what's coming. You need to have a game plan where J.J. McCarthy, whether it's shotgun or under center, can step up and have 3 or 4 guys going to the end zone to catch a touchdown pass. The challenge that you run, watch any Michigan game, go look and watch the replays on Big Ten Network. You get in there. There are so many instances when it's 3rd and goal from the 6 or 3rd and 7 from the 11. and they don't have a single wide receiver that even goes into the end zone or goes past the first down marker. You can't win. You watch Ohio State. You watch Alabama most times. You watch a lot of teams in college football. They have guys getting open, or at least guys contesting defenders for catches. Michigan, outside of Donovan Edwards, really doesn't ever even throw the jump ball, which, thinking back to the 90s, 2000s, Lloyd Carr and prior, that was one of my favorite parts about Michigan. I thought they ran the jump ball or the fade as good as anybody in college football for about a 15-year stretch. Haven't really seen it much at all lately with Jim Harbaugh as the head coach. All right, what do we got here, Jack? We got any more questions coming in? Keep them rolling. We'll just give this another 60 seconds or minute or so. Account 22, Eric, that's old news. I got to catch up on this chat. We miss Eric All. Yeah, I get that. I do think Eric All, him not being in this on this offense definitely hurts. And maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe he decides to return next year and he has an All-American year and ends up being a first, second-round draft pick. Had to work, had this live chat. My priorities might be a little crazy from Carl Coral. Didn't vote because of work and the Michigan Football Report. Carl, I think your priorities are actually spot on, okay? Those are the things that you need. Brighton Perry says, Yodi Bug. What does that even mean? I guess, hey, Yodi Bug, what's going on? Schoonmaker and Eric were a dynamic duo from Ella. I definitely agree with that. Stay all night and stream the election results, Yoder. I wish. Unfortunately, I've got parental duties coming up. I'm going to put my son to bed a little bit. But I haven't even paid attention to the elections at all today. I know that a ton of people are. It's a big-time election. But I want to know from you guys, did you vote? Why for yes and for no? Will you be going to Vegas if Michigan beats Ohio State from iMiller? Jack, pop on. Tell him what his plan is this year. Vegas was last year, right? Jeremy, producer, he's moved on. He's doing our Raiders show now. Jack's the producer of the Michigan Football Report. Jack, jump on. You can toss on camera if you want, Jack. There you go. Young Harbaugh, we call him. Look at this guy. Where are we going?
We're going to the Natty.
We're going to the national championship
We're going
game,
to the Natty,
right?
baby.
Michigan's going to beat Ohio State. Jack and I are going to go to a gentleman's club, maybe, just one of those. And then Michigan's going to beat whoever on New Year's Eve. And then Jack and I will be in L.A. for the national championship game, painting the town red. And then we'll do a bunch of media stuff and do a live show from Radio Row there at the College Football Playoff in, I think it's January 8th, January 9th. So it's going to be pretty fun time. I'm already budgeting for it, right? We're going to the Natty. Jack and I will be doing shows live from the CFP Radio Row Saturday, Sunday, and on game day on Monday. Post game on Tuesday after Michigan wins their first national championship in 25 years. Subscribe to the channel. Go to the Natty. You do need to buy the lottery ticket thing. You can buy tickets, but there are plenty of Michigan will get tickets if Michigan makes the playoff, and the CFP has their ticketing thing. But I will tell you guys this: I've been to 3 national championship games in college football, and I've been to I think 3 or 4 semifinal games. 2 in Dallas, maybe just 2. Right? I went to Clemson, Notre Dame, and Alabama, Cincinnati last year. Is that it? Maybe I'm wrong. Went to Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama, Georgia. We were down there, and then Clemson, Alabama, national title game. I will say this. The college football national championship game, unless both teams are proximity to the game, tickets are really cheap on game day because you can't expect teams to travel for the Ohio State game, the Big Ten championship game, the semifinal game. Like, that's a lot of traveling for a big fan base. So what ends up happening is there's like 20 to 30,000 seats that need to be filled by locals, and those tickets kind of plummet. There's been national title games, the one out in California between Alabama and Clemson. I mean, you could have gotten the game for $20 at game time. When it was 2014, Ohio State travels better than maybe anybody. Ohio State, Oregon, national title game, 2014 in Dallas I went to. You could have gotten the game for $5 in the upper deck, right? Now, if you want a good seat, maybe pay a little bit more. But usually those tickets are expensive early on and really fall in price right around game time. So if you do want to go to the game, if you're near LA, Michigan's in the national title game, probably won't be as expensive as you think. Subscribe to the channel. We are going to sign off. Do you root for Oregon versus Ohio State? I was rooting for Oregon, of course. I mean, are you kidding me? I was rooting for Oregon all effing day. Michigan alumni do have pockets and travel well. I totally agree with that. I hope they do travel well and take over LA, what's the name of the stadium out there? SoFi Stadium, when Michigan gets revenge and beats Georgia in the 2022 national title game, which is in January 2023 out in LA. We will have some content up for you. I'm going to put a segment from the show. The ranking is up on the channel here in a few minutes. And then we'll have a video for you Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and a post-game show on Saturday. So make sure you subscribe. Jackson Ritter says he loves Michigan. Came through with the chat there at the end. So, Jackson, I want to thank you so much for joining. He says, I love Michigan. Ohio State is terrible. Really appreciate that, Jackson, for you watching the show. It is the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. Until I see you guys next time, go Blue.